Number 21 just tells us to subtract and express our answer in simplest form. So we have negative 3/11 minus a negative 4/11. So I'm going to circle these two signs. Two negatives make a positive. When you're subtracting a negative, it's just like adding its opposite. So it's just like negative 3/11 plus 4/11. Now since these are both fractions and we have the same denominator, we don't have to do anything with that. We just take care of the numerators. So negative 3 plus 4 is 1. So it's just 1/11. That's our final answer there. Now, number 22, again, is just to subtract, but it wants us to express our answer as a decimal. So we have negative 8 minus 1 2/3. So what I'm going to do here is use my same change flip. It'll be easier for us to see what we're doing. Negative 8 plus a negative 1 2/3. So we should know right away that our final answer is going to be a negative. So if we just kept our fraction here, it would be negative 9 2/3. Now we want as a decimal. So we have to change that 2/3 into a decimal form, and I know that 1/3 is 0.3 repeating, so I should already know that 2/3 is 0.6 repeating. So my final answer should be negative 9.6 repeating. So I'm going to put that repeating sign on there. 23 through 25 is telling us to multiply and express our answer in simplest form and show all of our work. That's the key part here, showing all of our work. So number 23, 8/11 multiplied by negative 22/4. What we can do first is check, I'm going to write this up here, check diagonals. If we can cancel our diagonals, that'll make our multiplying easier, and also we won't have to simplify at the end after we're done multiplying. So 8 and 4 have a common factor of 2, so I can divide, by 4. I can divide both of those by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is just 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. And I can also look and see 11 and negative 22. Both of those have a common factor of 11. I'm going to divide both by 11. I get 1 there, negative 2 there. So all I'm doing now is multiplying across, and I get negative 4 over 1, or just negative 4. Either one I would take. Either one is correct. Number 24, we have negative 8/9 times 7/16. The only diagonal I can see here is 8/16. I'm going to circle that. I can cancel 8 and 16, get 1 and 2. Multiply across, I get negative 7/18. We have to make sure we check our signs as well. One was negative, one was positive. When we multiply one negative and one positive, we end up with a negative answer. Number 25, we have something that looks a little bit different. They're mixed numbers, so our first step, we have to change those into improper fractions by using the big C method. Multiply, add, you draw that here as well. Multiply, then add. 8 times 4 plus 7, you end up getting 39. You keep your denominator 8, multiplied by 3 times 2 plus 2 is 8. Keep that denominator 3. Now I can see 8 and 8 cancel, so I get 1 in both of those spots there. And 39 and 3 have a common factor of 3. So 39 becomes 13, 3 becomes 1. Multiply across, and we just get 13. That's our final answer. Now 26, 27, and 28 are dealing with decimals. Now all we're doing here is multiplying. So the key here is to not line up our decimals, but to line up our digits. So I'm going to look negative 1.7 times negative 4. Again, lining up our digits, not our decimals. Now I have two negative signs here, so I know my answer is going to be positive. So I'm going to do 4 times 7, which is 28. Or regroup with that 2. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. Now I'm looking at how many decimals, or how many numbers are behind my decimal, and here there's only 1. So I swoop that decimal once to the left, and I have a final answer of 6.8. Same thing with 27 here. I'm going to line up my digits, not my decimals. Negative 0.75 times 5. Now I only have one negative number here, so my answer is going to end up being a negative number. So 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 7, 35. 37. 5 times 0 is 0 plus 3. And I have to put that placeholder. 5 times 5, 25. 2 again, 7. Now I have to add. Now I have to see how many numbers are behind my decimal, which is 1, 2, 3. So I sweep it once, twice, 3 times. And I end up with the final answer of negative, remember that negative sign, 4.125, or negative 4 and 125 thousandths. Last but not least, we have number 28, doing the same process. 0.04, 29.2. Again, one negative number, so we're going to end up getting a negative number for our answer. So we're going to do the regular multiplication, add like we normally would. I'm going to count to see how many numbers are behind my decimal, which is 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to swoop my decimal 3 times to the left. Once, twice, 3 times. So my final answer, again, is negative. So it's going to be a negative 0.368, or negative 368 thousandths. Number 29 here is a word problem. It reads, Keston walks his dog 1/8. Scroll down a little too far there. So I'll read it. Keston walks his dog 1/8 of a mile each day. What is the total distance that Keston walks his dog in a week? Remember, a week has 7 days, just a reminder for us. So if I know that Keston walks his dog 1/8 of a mile each day, I'm going to write that 1/8 there. I'm going to multiply that by 7. And I also can change that 7 into a fraction by 7 over 1, just putting it over 1, not changing its value. And again, with our fractions, we just multiply across. I'm getting 7/8. Now, because this is a word problem, we have to make sure our answer is a complete sentence. So we would make sure we rapid math, restate, answer, and prove. So we already proved it with our work. I'm going to write Keston walks a total distance of 7/8 miles in a week. So we made sure to answer that question completely in a complete sentence, complete thought. Now looking on to 30, 31, and 32. Find the quotient, express your answer in simplest form, and show all of our work. Again, with this math, we have to show all of our work so we get full credit. We do get points, not only for the correct answer, but for showing our process. So when we're dividing fractions, we always have to remember the same, change, flip. That's a really important rule. We keep the first number the same, change that sign, and flip our next number, whether it be a whole number or a fraction. We're going to use the inverse there. So we're going to keep 2/3 here. Change this multiplication, or division to multiplication. And this 3 is like 3 over 1. We're going to change that to 1/3. Now all we do here is multiply across. First I'm going to check my diagonals. I have nothing I can cancel. So I multiply across. I end up getting 2/9 is my final answer. 31, same thing. We're going to do stay, change, flip. So 3/4 will stay the same. Change this sign to multiplication and inverse that, flip it. Make it 8 over 1 instead of 1/8. I can cancel some diagonals here. That ends up being a 2. That 4 becomes a 1. I multiply across again. And I end up getting 6 over 1 or just 6. Either one will work for that one. And the last problem for this page is -4 and 2/3 divided by -1, or divided by 1 and 1/6. So I see automatically that I have one number that's negative. So since I'm dealing with one negative, one positive number, my answer is going to end up being negative. But the first thing I have to do is change my numbers into improper fractions by using the big C method. multiply, then add, multiply, then add. So negative 4 2/3 becomes negative 14/3 divided by 7/6. Now I have not stay changed flipped it. All I've done is change my my fractions into improper fractions, my mixed numbers into improper fractions there. So now I'm going to apply that stay change flip and have negative 14/3. Change that division to multiplication, 6/7. Now I can see that I have a couple numbers I can cancel here with my diagonals. 14 and 7 both can be divided by 7, so this becomes a negative 2. Remember to keep that sign. This becomes a 1. 3 becomes a 1, and 6 becomes a 1. So I end up getting, oh, I'm sorry, that 6 should be a 2 there. So when I multiply across, I end up getting negative 4/1, or just 4. Again, either one of those will work.